guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Dahlia.
I'm Jazz.
And today we're going to do a story time on how we first met. And the events leading up to us dating. Sorta. So,
do you want to start or do you want me to?
Let's get started.
Okay, I'll do it. Okay. So, just like a little, I guess, background history. I'm from San Antonio, Texas, and Dahlia's from Laredo, Texas. And
we went to a college named TAMU, which is the Texas A&M International University
in Laredo.
So,
I moved over there, and I really didn't know anyone. I had a roommate, and basically she wanted me to be cool with her and stuff, and I did too because I didn't know anyone. So she was like, on the first day, she was like, well, why don't, we all go to breakfast together, before classes. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. I really don't know anyone here. And she knew everyone. So I was like, okay. So I went to breakfast with her, and she had one of her high school friends there. And it was kind of awkward at first just because I didn't really know either of them. And I was eating with them. It was kind of funny. And then they were like, oh, well, our other friend from high school is going to come too. And I was like, okay. So she showed up, and I found out that I actually had classes with the last girl that showed up. And so she was like, well, we can go to class together. And I was like, okay. So basically, not through my roommate, but through the other two girls, her high school friends, we met.
Only through one of them.
It was...
Yeah, so here's the story, because she just gave you a long story that I'm probably going to cut.
No.
We met the day of freshman convocation. Freshman convocation is just this huge meeting that the heads of the university put together and talking about success and all this other crap. And we
didn't know anyone.
We met through our mutual friend. Should we change her name?
We'll call her Sally.
Okay. So through our mutual friend Sally. That's not her real name, so don't go look her up.
We went to her dorm. And basically...
So our friend Sally was getting ready in her dorm. And our other mutual friend, we'll call her...
Janice.
We're
going to talk about Janice in a lot of videos, though, so we're going to have to remember that.
So our other mutual friend, Janice, is the friend that kind of hooked us up. So yeah. I met our friend, what was her name? Sally and Janice at freshman orientation, which is the summer before the semester starts.
And I met Sally and Janice through my roommate.
Yes.
Because Sally and Janice went to high school with my roommate.
So our friend Janice said, hey girl, we're gonna meet up in Sally's room for freshman convocation. Do you want to meet us there? And so I met up with them, and it just so happened that Jazz was in the room.
Because my roommate invited me to go with Sally and Janice as well. So I was already there.
Yeah, so we met in her dorm room, and I walked in to Jasmine over here giving her a life story.
Because I talk when I'm nervous. And so I was trying to make friends, and I had no realization until she told me afterwards that I was basically giving life word vomit.
Yeah. And so when I met Jazz,
that's our dog. Sorry.
When I met Jazz, she was just talking and talking and talking. And normally it honestly never ever gets on my nerves because I'm a huge talker. So it didn't bother me at all, but she had this bright red hair. I mean, not bright red, but it was red hair. She was sitting down on a chair.
It was
on the wall. It was red.
It was a maroon.
It was burnt red. So it was red, and automatically she caught my eye. And I just thought, because of your hair, you caught my attention. And you were talking. And so I just thought, this is, so weird. Who gives their life story to a bunch of strangers? And so I sat with our friend Janice. while our friend Sally was getting ready, and our friend Sally just took so damn long to get ready
that we actually missed convocation.
Yeah, we missed convocation. We were gonna be late by like 15-20 minutes, and so we decided like just forget convocation.
So my roommate left.
Yeah, she had left
already. It ended up just being us two and Sally and Janice, and we went in your car.
My car?
Yeah, we went in your car.
Oh, well, we took my car, and we ended up saying like, well, let's just go get lunch. Like it's already late. Forget convocation. So we went to Whataburger, and if we can, we'll insert a clip.
Because I have like a small like Snapchat video of like
so we'll insert a clip somewhere on the screen, if we can figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Sally and Janice want like their faces in it.
Well, just cover them. So
Sally and Janice are probably gonna watch.
Most probably. Hi guys. So so we went to Whataburger, and that was the first time we ever met. And that had to be in around...
It was like September 2nd, September 4th. I think those were one of the days. I think
it was in September, beginning of September. So it was the beginning of the semester. And from there, I continued talking to Sally and Janice. And
I did as well, because I had a lot of classes with them.
Yeah.
And I would see her in the halls, but...
She would avoid me. She would
I avoided you because, again, everyone knows I thought you were kind of like one of those, like... My first impression of her was you were kind of like stuck up and snobby and like entitled, and I was not around people like that growing up, so it was not like my thing. It wasn't my scene.
Avoided me.
Yeah.
So flash forward a couple months, not even a couple months, a couple weeks,
because it was October.
So I had been talking to my friend Janice, and we had been working out together. We were doing stuff together, like we were hanging out a little bit. We were getting to know each other a lot more. We were getting to know each other a lot more, and I worked for this company. I'm not going to name them, and I basically sold like kitchenware. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I basically sold kitchenware, and I would have like parties, and we would eat, and there would be drinks, and I wouldn't drink. No underage drinking.
Basically, for people that know like what Tupperware parties were, that's what it was. It was like a Tupperware party.
Just with kitchenware, so they were kind of like
but that's besides
pots
the point.
And pans. So I had a party in San Antonio, and my friend,
I'm from San Antonio.
So I went to my friend Janice, and I said, hey, I need to go to San Antonio. My parents really don't want to take me. Do you want to go with me? And so
Janice was like, hells yeah.
And
why
so
not?
It just so happened that Jazz was there.
And Janice told me about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm from San Antonio. Like, I can show you guys around. Like, we can chill out and stuff. And so Janice was like, it's my car. I don't see why not. And so she was like, yes. And then, long story short, because I know you're going to get like, I know how you tell this story. So long story short, there was miscommunication, and there was a lot of unexpected things that happened during the trip. So I ended up staying with her,
which got me in trouble,
Janice, for the weekend in
with
San
my
Antonio,
godmother.
Which wasn't supposed to happen because it was just supposed to be her and Janice at the house. Which, if godmother you ever watch this, I do apologize because I didn't know that was a thing. But yeah, so that was that. And we had a really good time.
We did.
We went to Bahama Bucks. We drove
Which I
around.
vaguely remember.
We drove around so many places, and we couldn't decide on any of them. And there was no drinking at all. We were just so exhausted from the whole day that
we went to North Star Mall here, if anyone knows San Antonio.
We went to Bahama Bucks. I mean, we were messing around. We were going to go into different stores and pretend we were certain people that we weren't. I mean, we were just totally gagging around. And so it was a really good weekend. And then after that weekend, we started hanging out. And I was the only one that had a dorm because she lived at her parents' house. And Janice had her own apartment off campus. And so a lot of days we would all kind of just chill out in my dorm in between classes.
Yeah, and hashtag growing up with strict parents. I wasn't allowed at our friend Janice's apartment because my parents thought it wasn't like okay.
Because it wasn't
too dangerous.
in the safest area of town, and they didn't really know them. And so there was just a lot of like prejudgments about them. But Janice is one of our closest friends, so
yeah.
It all really worked out. And so we would hang out a lot, and we went to San Antonio one more time, and it was actually the weekend of my birthday. She also had a party, so she had that party, and then we ended up trying to go to clubs because we were all 18 by then.
And it didn't actually work.
It did not happen at all. We drove to a bunch of clubs, and we sat in the parking lot, and we were like, no way, because we stayed at her grandma's house that weekend, and her grandma had a curfew for us. And the curfew was the time that the clubs actually started, like, going.
Yeah.
So we weren't going to be at a dead club, like, right at opening doors.
Yeah, so it didn't work.
It didn't work at all.
Let's flash forward to about November. So right before Thanksgiving break, we were hanging out a lot more. We were literally, I was in her dorm from, like,
7 a.m.
The end of my first class at 7 a.m. to
like
after,
8 p.m., 9 p.m. Like,
after my, like, either right before or right after my last class of the day.
Yeah.
And we were spending all of our time together. And whether it just be me and Jazz, or me, Jazz, and Janice, and it was just...
We had so much fun. Like, that semester was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so right before Thanksgiving break, Jasmine, I'm sitting in my last class.
No. I have to say, like, the details.
Okay.
So, in October, I would say nearing the end of October, I started catching feelings for Dahlia. And I told Janice immediately, and I was like, what do I do? Because we had this, like, friendship circle, and I didn't want to ruin it because I feel like relationships always ruin friendships when it's a group of 3. It always ruins them. And so I was really worried about what she would say, and I didn't even want to pursue her unless I basically had, like, Janice's approval. And so Janice was, like, all for it, and she basically said, like, any way I can, I'm basically gonna help you, get Dahlia. And so we would do, like, the stupidest things. Like, Janice just went above and beyond for me, trying to get her to notice me in that way.
Yeah.
And so
we flash forward a little bit to November, right before Thanksgiving break. I was sitting in my last class,
and I told Janice, I can't hold it anymore. Like, my heart is bursting for love for this girl. And at this point, it was one of those things where I just enjoyed spending so much time with her. I was so in love with her already, and we weren't even in a relationship yet. So Janice was just like, go, like, you're wasting time, like, do it. So I sat there for maybe an hour or two, orchestrating the most thought out text that I could think of to tell Dahlia how I really felt, which was probably the worst decision ever through text.
Yeah.
So you tell your part.
So I'm sitting in my psychology class, and I'm sitting right next to one of my friends, and we would take turns. So I was texting, and she was paying attention, and she would give me notes. And I was texting Jazz, and she sends me this long paragraph of her confessing her feelings for me.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I was like, oh my God, I can't deal with this right now. And I was like, oh, I said something along the lines of, oh, that's sweet.
It was, like, super short. Like,
yeah.
It was basically, like...
Because I was also trying not to get caught, because we weren't allowed to text.
It had to be, like, less than 5 words, like...
I said something like, oh, that's so sweet, but I'm sorry. Like,
yeah.
I don't feel
like,
that way.
She shot it down so quick. And, like, the rest of the night, I cried all night because I was so sad that I, like, let myself feel that deeply for her I knew I didn't have a chance with her.
So then, like, we kind of kept texting.
And, like, mind you, like, the next morning, I had to face her.
Yeah.
And we also spent the whole, like, the next days that week. We spent every single day together as if that night did not happen at all.
Yeah.
And it was really hard. And I'm sure it was hard on your part, too. It was really hard for me to, like, suck it up.
At this point in my life, I knew that I was gay or bi or whatever you want to label it. But I didn't say anything, and I didn't want to admit it to myself because I thought that, like, coming from like a Catholic family and growing up kind of with the church, and not really growing up with the church, but living in the church for most of my high school career, I was so confused as to what I should be feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of didn't want to admit it to myself, but I did kind of have feelings for her, and they weren't like crazy like hers.
I just love hard.
But I knew I liked her more than a friend. So we flash forward to right before she leaves she went to Houston with her family for Thanksgiving break.
I went to Houston, and I was in the truck with my family driving to Houston.
And we're not going to talk about the details of
definitely. But I basically told her, like, are you positive? Like, are you, because I had to make sure. I needed, like, closure, basically, to know, like, this is not going to happen. I need to start, like, healing my heart so that I can move on.
Yeah.
And she was just like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I'm 100% straight. And I was like, okay. So basically,
which was a lie, BTW. I don't know anyone calling me out.
That week, there was a lot of discussion, and basically that text in the car happened on like a Saturday. By that Tuesday, we got together.
Yeah, she had made a comment on something, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not okay with that. So I said, okay, well, let's try this out. And I 100% honestly thought that it was going to be like this kind of fling thing where we kind of talked for a while and hung out and acted like a couple, and then that was going to be it. And then we started hanging out more and talking more and get to know each other more, and it just didn't happen like that.
I think in her mind, honest, the way you describe it to everyone, I think in her mind, she was kind of waiting for, like, that end.
Mm-hmm.
And it just never came.
Yeah.
And it just kept, building
going. And building.
The more you thought, like, okay, like, it can't get any better than this, it's gonna drop. I just kept hiring it. And
yeah. So we ended up together, obviously, and then in October of 2017.
Yes, on Halloween of 2017, we got engaged.
Yeah.
We'll save that for another video.
It's gonna be really short, but we got engaged in October 2017,
and
then in March of 2018, March 2nd, we got married. It was a really small wedding with basically only my dad and her parents
and a
and
few
some
extended,
of my uncles,
a few extended family, a few
and my cousin, and that's it.
It was really short, but it was so perfect.
Yeah, I couldn't have thought of anything better. Like,
it was so us. Like, we had planned a really big, extravagant wedding, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't set with us, right?
It didn't it didn't leave like a good feeling.
It didn't have our names on it.
Yeah.
And it was just perfect. And honestly, like,
of course there was some people missing in our wedding that we didn't get to see.
Of course we would have loved to have them there.
But I mean, it happened the way it happened, and I loved our wedding. It was great, and yeah.
So that's the story of how we met and how we got together.
I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Comment anything you would like to see us do.
Any more video suggestions, any more story times, because oh my god, like, our channel will probably just be majority story times just because our life is so crazy. Like,
yeah, so make sure you all leave a big thumbs up and subscribe.
Thank you guys.
We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.